Because this career mode is rapidly coming to a close, I wanted to open up some voting for you guys, and I have two categories for players that I want you guys to suggest down in the comments section below. The first category is player of the series, and I'll leave it up to you guys to interpret that how you want. It could be the number of goals scored, it could be the leadership for the team, it could be clean sheets in the back. It's whatever you guys want, and I'll allow you guys to fully interpret that. The next category is a little bit more straightforward. It's the best transfer throughout all 3 seasons. So what I want you guys to do is for both of those categories, leave one player down in the comment section below, and I'll be unveiling the results in the next episode. Hey, what's up guys, Flick here, and welcome back to another episode of the West Ham Career Mode. And this actually marks the second to last episode of this series. It has been a fantastic run the last 3 seasons, but there is a bit of change coming to the channel, but we do have to finish up this career mode strong. We've got the FA Cup still to deal with, and the Premier League of course. However, we do have the Premier League fairly wrapped up, so I'm going to be simulating a few matches in today's episode in the Premier League. But we do very much have to deal with the FA Cup and the teams left in it. We've got Watford today, but we have the potential of playing Spurs, maybe even Liverpool in the future. Here's Watford's lineup, who have made a couple of interesting transfers. We got Layun at the left back position. He's been absolutely tearing it up this year. I'm not sure if his rating in career mode does reflect his current rating because, of course, this save was at the start of the year. But we start things off with a couple of good opportunities. But it falls to Tolisso here. We have him play at the left back, which is actually one of the positions he can play. But eventually it finds its way to Eric Smith, our Youth Academy player, who I decided to experiment and give him the start in this match. And boy, was I happy to do so. A couple of good skills, followed by a tidy finish in the top net. Gives Eric Smith his first goal for the team. And what a goal it was. A great run, followed by a fantastic finish. And the 50 or something finishing that he has really wasn't reflected in that, and sometimes the finishing doesn't even matter. Unfortunately, Watford does come back and get a goal. It was a very lucky deflection. It fell right in front of that player, and all he had to do was tuck it in with the volley. But they came right back only a few minutes later, and now it's Gerardo. He's going to see the player on the outside. It's Diabate. Good save by Ariza Balaga, but the defense is unable to clear it out, and Watford get the 2-1 lead before the halftime whistle. But we still get a couple of opportunities here before halftime. 1 minute of extra time, so we've got to move quickly. Tolisso able to find Traore, skipped by the defenders, goes for that near post shot, but Allison makes a good save on his near post. We do get the ensuing corner kick. It's Antonio who goes with a heel-to-heel flick, manages to keep it in bounds. Bit of a scramble inside the box, falls to us once more. Clearly it's gone past the 1 minute of extra time, but eventually Watford do clear it out, and we go into the break down 2-1, which isn't preferable, but you know, we still had a good opportunity to come back to this game. We were creating some chances, and definitely more so than the last few episodes of this career mode. But here's Bertrand Traore, good bit of skill to get by some defenders. He's going to go with the Berba spin, kits inside, and Allison probably should have done better with that save, but I think Bertrand Traore deserved a goal right there. He did a fantastic bit of dribbling to even set that up in the first place, and regardless of the save, it was a nice bit of dribbling. I think a draw at this point in the match was a pretty fair result, but of course we still had some minutes left in the game. We went to make some substitutions, bringing on Brewers, as well as our Scout of Future star player, Joaquin Magellan, who hasn't appeared in this career mode in quite some time, but it's Lanzini trying to run across the pitch and finding the open man. It's going to be Sam Byram. Nice bit of skill to get by the defender. Opportunity to win the game for us. It was a good block by the defender. I think if it would have gotten through, it probably would have been a near post finesse shot, but the match ends at a draw. Again, I think that's a fair result, but that means we're going to have to do a replay in the FA Cup, and we're going to get to that later. But first, we're going to be simulating against Southampton. It's a home match, and of course, we're going to win this one, despite Aaron Cresswell picking up a red card late in the game. Abubakar and Ntep contributing to the goals. And look at this for scheduling. We have to do the replay of the Watford match only a day after the Southampton match, and that's 3 matches in 4 days, which is just absolutely ridiculous. And I chose to simulate the Watford match because I didn't want to bore you guys playing the same team twice in the same episode, and we do end up getting the win. So that will put us in the semifinal of the FA Cup. We'll get to that later in the episode, but first, we had to play this match against Manchester City, and I was not going to be simulating this one because teams like Manchester City, regardless of the lineup that they bring out and the number of points they have, they're always going to be tough to play. And they've actually made quite a few changes in their starting 11. A lot of young players at the start of career mode have progressed, and now they're in Manchester City's starting 11. and some of the big name players didn't appear in their starting lineup. But Jesus Navas starts things off early, and it's Bishop, one of those young players I was talking about. I thought he was a youth academy player, but no, he's a young English player, and he draws a certain resemblance to a FIFA YouTuber. Let me know down in the comment section if you guys know who I'm talking about. Maybe it's just me, but I think the resemblance is quite uncanny. But it's Magellan. I gave him the start in this match, and he was trying to get on the scoreboard. Unfortunately, the near post finesse shot is not on target, and we go into the halftime break down 1-0, despite dominating in several of the categories. More shots, more possession. However, we did not have more goals. And here's Sam Byron making a fantastic run here on the right-hand side. Has enough pace to get around the defenders, but once again, the shot not on target. We're just not testing Caballero. We're not going to be able to get goals if we don't test the keeper. Tolisso trying to set something up is going to find Aubameyang. He gets by the defense with ease. However, this time Caballero makes the save. Things just were not going our way. And late in the match, Man City pretty much had it wrapped up. They just had to hang on to the ball, but De Bruyne loses it, and Entep has a chance to maybe get on the break. Man City did not have a lot of players back, and we just stormed people forward. Nice bit of passing here to set up this chance, and unfortunately, Lanzini's pass couldn't really decide whether he was going for the player in the middle or the player on the edge. I was going for the player on the edge. That was my intent. We were just trying to win the ball back here, and unfortunately Tolisso takes out Yaya Toure, which of course is going to lead to a red card. Interesting call by the ref, but it was not a good tackle. It didn't really make much of a difference. Only thing is Tolisso's going to have to miss our next Premier League match. But unfortunately, we did fall in that match 1-0 to Man City. Not going to make a big difference for us in the Premier League since we have such a big cushion there at the top, and we even went on to win against Stoke City in our next match. Neves and Reed being the 2 goal scorers, which isn't exactly what I would have predicted. But we're going to continue with the simulation here against Derby County away from home, and they are towards the lower half of the table if I remember right. However, they did end up getting a draw. Will Hughes, of course the young potential player, did pick up the goal in the 87th minute to get them the draw. But we're going to continue pushing on now with the FA Cup match. It's the semi-final at Wembley. Very exciting stuff. Fans from both teams making the trip over, and this is going to be just a fantastic game. Spurs are going to be tough competitions, and it's either going to be Hull or Liverpool if we do end up winning this game. But of course, we got to get through Spurs first. They have an interesting starting 11, and they do have Jeremy Menez up top for them, and he's a fantastic little player in career mode. And speaking of Menez, here he is, able to control it so well and gets by our defense. Does test the keeper, but Arrizabalaga up to the task. He's up to like 87 rate at this point, and I think he's arguably the best keeper in the Premier League. He just makes so many saves, and he's been such a great player for us. Abubakar probably should have put that one away with the outside of his boot, but unfortunately it went off the post, and the match was still 0-0 here in the 22nd minute. Good passing here by Payet to go for Abubakar. I think Aubameyang was offsides, but eventually Aubameyang does get the ball, and he does finish it on the near post, making it 1-0 for us in the 23rd minute, and we're pushing on to the 33rd minute, trying to get another goal, and it's Aubameyang going with that shot from an interesting angle, and I believe that was deflected and went off the post. So Aubameyang really testing the keeper and testing Spurs in this match. Abubakar once again gets a chance to get a goal for himself, but this time it was a bit too heavy of a touch, and Vorm was able to collect it. But just for the halftime whistle, Spurs were pushing up. It's going to be Kyle Walker trying to send this one in. Couple of chances here as we deflected a few times with our defense. Arrizabalaga makes a save, and eventually the counter attack was on because Spurs brought so many people forward. Payet lays it off to Aubameyang, and at this point it's a 1-on-2 opportunity. He had to get by this defender. Decides to go with the shot with the outside of his boot, and what a shot it was, giving us the 2-0 lead before we go into the halftime break. And Aubameyang, what a transfer he has been for us. He's up to like 86 or 87 rate. He's grown so much, and he has provided so much for this team. And I think it was about time that we had some chances go our way. We weren't necessarily dominating the stats, but we were getting goals. And it's about time that things worked in our favor here in FIFA, because the last couple episodes have been rough, I'm not going to lie. But our passing was just good in this game. Our vision to find open players as Abubakar picks up a goal was just on point. And I think I was just focusing a bit more on the game, trying to find those open passes, and I think it does show off through the gameplay. But here's Son trying to get a goal back for Spurs. At this point, the game was pretty much done. Cresswell, a very ambitious clearance, clearing it off the top of the crossbar. But of course, we did hang on for the win, and that is going to wrap up the episode for today, guys. I hope you have enjoyed it, and I hope you guys are excited for the finale of this career mode. If you have enjoyed today's episode, make sure to leave a like down below. Subscribe if you are new to the channel, and until next time, this has been Flick. I'll be talking to you guys again soon.